Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Kev Play. This is Kevin, and we are on episode 62 of The Last of Us Part 2, our No Return Blind mode that we've been doing. Um, guess we'll get right into. We'll do a new run and then do the daily run, I guess. See what the daily run is. Hey, Papa Pig, how are you? Guess I'll play as Lev. Traits: bow, draw speed, upgrade, improved listen mode, archery, upgrade branch. Okay. Guess you gotta have good hearing if when you're whistling at each other all throughout the woods. New daily run. Okay, cool. Okay, so yeah, I guess
All right.
before we get into it, we will just do our little breakdown of the last episode, which is episode 5 of the Last of Us HBO series, entitled "Feel Her Love." Um, Again, they they they're doing things a little out of order to make the TV show work, and part of that I understand. Um, there's a lot of it that my main and this is how I know that the internet had no influence on my opinion here. But that opening scene where Ellie runs up the stairs and she's like, "Ta-da!" and she's like, and Dina's like in the middle of like trying to map out their next move, and she's just Dina's just so like focused on the task at hand, and Ellie's kind of just like, you know, being all like awkward and stuff, and being all like, "Oh, the light! I put the lights on," and then she's kind of playing dumb too. She doesn't know what a protractor is, and I don't know, like she's being so like silly in the moment. And when I saw that, my initial reaction was like, "What is happening right now?" Because, and this is no fault of Bella Ramsey, but for me, it's the writing where, and people started to realize this after I made a Twitter comment earlier in the week, but I basically said like, why when you play the game and Ellie is on her revenge quest, any little banter that's happening between her and Dina or any other character, there's always 100% an undertone of of where her headspace is, and that's that she is hell bent to avenge Joel, and you feel that throughout the game, even when there's like little moments of like comedy or any little moment of like any quirks that happen with her character. You can feel it regardless. It's the same thing like when you watch like Breaking Bad, and Jesse Pinkman can be such a hilarious character, but you know that he's going through hell and back through his story. um you can still have that, when you capture the character's headspace, you can have them live in that trauma and that hell, but still have moments of levity or whatever when it calls for it. This, it's like I feel like the writers are not really or the writing is not really getting me into Ellie's headspace as successfully as the game did. I was saying at the episode before where they reveal, it's revealed that Ellie's immune and Dina's pregnant, and there's this weird little offbeat comedy exchanges between the two when they go from like 0 to 60. All of a sudden they're kissing each other after having like the gun drawn at Ellie. Like it feels like the character work is just very a little all over the place where it's hard to track what's you know and I understand I have to compartmentalize that this is not the same as the game, but for me as the TV show viewer, I'm I think I'm pretty good at compartmentalizing that, and I'm just like, I don't really get it how they're executing this. Um, and I just felt that with Ellie in the beginning of this episode, where she's like, it almost felt like Dina's the main character. You know, there's even a scene later on where Dina reminds or basically tells her story of the trauma that she's experienced in her life with her family, where they basically her family got killed, and I forget the specifics of it, but it was basically very hard. I think she had to put down one of them. I'm forgetting, but Dina uses that story to really you know push them forward and motivate them. Like if this was like if oh I think someone murdered her family or something. So it's like she resonates with Ellie's cause, but it's almost like Dina's reminding Ellie what they're doing this for. Whereas why isn't Ellie feeling like we know that Ellie feels this because towards the end of the episode we know she's not going back to Jackson. Um, she like when what's his when Jesse comes and says like, okay, we're gonna go back to Jackson now or whatever, and Ellie's like, no, we're not, because in the plot Ellie is definitely hell bent to go forward, and I think there's a little bit of redemption with the writing when Bella faces Nora at the end, where she kind of like uses like once Ellie's alone, she kind of becomes this like darker version of herself, and where she kind of wants to go off script of what the plan is and try to just do what she thinks is right in the moment. The spontaneity of her character. That's like where her character thrives. I feel, or where I feel like they capture her headspace the most when she's like, okay, Dina's out of the picture, and Jesse, they're going back to the theater, I guess, and it's almost like the quest for Joel really took over in that moment. And then when we see that moment where she chases Nora through the hospital and leads and then eventually gets down to like where the spores are, and that moment between Bella Ramsey and the actress that's going to be in Intergalactic, a Heretic Prophet is that was like really great character, like really that was a really strong scene. And then the torture, obviously. They took some artistic liberties where in the game where we see Ellie come back um after what she's done to Nora to get to get the answer that she's looking for out of her, basically making her talk. And we feel like I remember that was being like a I think it was like the cliffhanger basic or like the big climax moment to day one is that Ellie comes back and she tortured someone, and it's almost like Ellie's soul is just rattled that she just did this, that she just basically did what Joel would have done. Um, but in the TV version, it plays out the same way, but they cut, and it cuts to a flashback of what we will expect to be the Joel and Ellie flashback, which I'm guessing is going to be entire episode is dedicated to all the flashbacks in the game that are going to be all kind of like sewn together. I'm sure we're going to get like the dinosaur museum and Ellie finding out about you know revisiting the Firefly Hospital and finding out what happened. The scene where she kind of makes Joel admit what happened. I'm sure that's what we're gonna get. It's interesting that they cut though, because for me, this is where the game, this is where I fail to compartmentalize because I do really appreciate what the game did, where it made us really feel the trauma that Ellie goes through right after she does what she does to Nora in the game. Whereas this, it's just a different direction. I'm sure we're gonna still get that scene in a sense once she comes back, once the flashback episode ends. But it's just interesting how they shuffled scenes around, I guess. Let me see what you're saying. You said it's better than the last episode. I think it definitely got better as it like. Honestly, am I being nitpicky in the beginning with how Ellie's acting? It's something I can see myself overlooking and kind of just being like, all right, like the writing's a little like all over the place here. But as an episode as a whole, very entertaining, very, you know, definitely builds and gets better as it goes. You said, yeah, I really like the end part. Yeah, like I thought I thought it was well done, and it's interesting because the episode's called "Feel Her Love," which is in reference to the Seraphite leader, which we see like signs of on the wall. You know, it's kind of like this religious cult leader, and I think there's a moment where Dina and Ellie see that sign, and then you see on the bottom like you see a bunch of like executed uh people like up against the wall, and it says like feel this bitch or something like that. So there's a lot of hostility going on with that's driven from whatever cult that has risen from her teachings or whatever. Um, the influence that she's had, you know, the negative influence, and again, you know, like when we were playing this game, we talked about how it explores love and hate, what the impact of love, both love and hate, can do, and how that can affect people. So it's interesting how the ending ends with Ellie torturing this girl to get an answer, and then it cuts to Joel, like like a very nice, warm moment with Joel and Ellie. Ellie waking up, and Joel's there to say like good morning or whatever. It's She's doing all this terrible stuff out of love. So it's almost like the title is almost like ironic, or a little like has a little bit of a sense of humor with it, where when she's saying feel her love, it's like feel the crowbar that I'm bashing you with, because this is because of what love because of my love for Joel, this is what I'm gonna do to you. Like feel my love, you know. That's kind of how I read that. Obviously it's up for interpretation, but that's just like a little thing that that I took away from that. But yeah, I think Dina has been developing to be a really interesting character. I noticed it was interesting how in the show, um, Dina makes the decision to continue with Ellie on the adventure, or you know, quote unquote advent. You know, it's a terrible thing. Their goal that they're striving for, where they're just murdering people across Seattle or whatever. But it's interesting that she chose to go with Ellie despite, you know, the pregnancy that they both know of now. Uh, and I guess that's where her kind of like origin monologue came from, with what happened to her family. You know, where that's kind of what's driving her. And obviously, she's very early in her pregnancy, but yes, it's like you probably shouldn't be going along with this, regardless. Even if you weren't pregnant, you shouldn't be going along with this. But I get it; they're friends. There's a lot at stake. There's a lot of emotional toll that is driving them. But what was interesting too is that in the game, because we come to that moment where they're lost, they get driven out into the woods after their encounter with the wolves. Um, and we get that moment where the Seraphites are in the woods. They're going to hang this guy, and then they gut him, and you see his intestines coming out and all that. It's very, you know, in the game, there's a similar scene, or like really like Ellie like pokes her head above like a trench or something, and then she gets shot with an arrow, and she has to pull the arrow out in the game. Whereas with this, I remember thinking, I was like, okay, so Dina's coming along for the journey. They're making it so that her character's making a choice to come along. How is she going to? Is she going to be like? How are they going to like kind of bring? It's like they're diverting from the game, but how are they going to bring it back? Because obviously Dina can't be along for the whole thing. And then it was interesting that Dina's the one that gets shot with the arrow, and then she has an actual physical reason as to turn back, regardless of what her character is driven to do. You know. So I thought that was interesting. So her and Jesse go back. Dina and Jesse go back, and then Ellie moves forward. Um, And then beyond that, yeah, we get a moment where beforehand where they're in that little warehouse facility and like a bunch of stalkers are just surrounding them. And that was kind of new uh to the show. There was that wasn't it didn't that's not how it played out in the game, but I liked it. I liked the tension and like the uh I guess the urgency of that scene, you know, and Dina kind of coaching Ellie too was interesting. Like, you know, like it's like I know you're very impulsive and um you just want to go in guns blazing, but like, you know, if shots are fired, we're gonna draw more attention to us. You have to be smart. Well, we can only use this as a last resort. Our guns. I liked how Dina's kind of reeling Ellie in along the journey, and now that Dina's kind of indisposed, or you know, like now that she's kind of like has to retreat back to the theater with Jesse, there's nobody to kind of like reel Ellie back. And now Ellie's just gonna, you know, we already saw what Ellie's capable of and what she does to this girl Nora. Um, Now she's just going down a rabbit hole that's just gonna, it's like a path of no return, pretty much. So interesting. Um, I can't really think of anything else to add at the moment, but what was the cold open? I'm forgetting. Oh, the cold open was like I think it was showing how they sealed this hospital that like since the outbreak pretty much, which I'm guessing is what they're building up to with where the Rat King is going to be in the game or in the show. Which I'm wondering, I'm guessing we're not going to see it this season, right? Because it's we're only following Ellie so far. We would have to be on Abby's journey, so but that was interesting. Basically, yeah, like the woman who was like in charge of like sealing the hospital, she kind of had to make a sacrifice, I think, and because they're basically like, you know, reintroducing spores into the story again, you know, like last episode. But yeah, I want to see the Rat King. Um, but yeah, you said yeah, it's pretty much, you know, that's all I can really say at the moment. I'm still enjoying the entertainment factor of the season. It's just I do have my gripes and little criticisms of what's going on, and I don't think it's Bella Ramsey that's the problem here. I think more of the writing. Like I've already accepted that Bella Ramsey is a different performance than what Ashley Johnson does with Ellie in the game. I can accept that already. Like it's different, whatever. But the writing can be a little strange at times to me. Very strange. And it has nothing to do with the differences they do with like the direction of how they play these scenes out. It's more of like the dialogue and like the little moments just kind of like leave me a little like baffled how they're handling some scenes, but I can overlook it. It's not the worst. Like, trust me, I've seen worse television than like I think like I've seen television that just like of television I really love, like of shows I really love, just completely drop the ball. And I don't think this is that show for me at all at the moment. Like I can accept the little flaws that are happening, but I don't know. They're starting to add up, and that's just my little concern that I'm experiencing. You said, I don't really know what to add. It's alright. Yeah, you know, it is what it is. Alright, let's get into this first one. And by the way, I know last time I told you that this is assault. Last time I told you that I'm going on vacation. I'm actually going on vacation like in a couple of days. But I didn't realize that I will be back before the next episode airs. So I think I'll be able to very late into the week talk about the episode that's coming out this Sunday, and then I'll do a final episode probably closer in the week to wrap up the season. So I won't have to I'm just glad I won't have to like like talk about both episodes in one episode of this channel, because then that would have been too much talking, I think. Damn it. I need the gun. It would have been a podcast at that point. Yeah. Which is what this already is. It's like a hybrid of a podcast and a Let's Play. I have no... Oh, I have... I don't have any health, and okay, I have arrows. And this clicker's pretty slow. Thankfully. Cool. But you need a second person for a podcast. Yeah, this is more of like a one-man show podcast. But you know, you're like, at least I'm like I know we're not like both on voice chat here. It's like text chat and voice chat, but you are, I have to say publicly, you are this, you make this show just as much as I do. Like, this could easily just be me talking to myself. You're definitely like a good like partner in just like, you know, bouncing ideas off of our thoughts. Oh god, this daily run's not so good. Alright, that's it for the daily run. Yeah, you're great. Like, if we ever did like a thing with like a mic, like just to, like have a discussion, I would be open to that, honestly. I've never heard you talk, that's the thing, like, but I'm sure you're fine, you know? Okay, so we didn't do that good. I guess to talk about things that are happening. By the way, so last episode you said heck yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, I'd be open to that if there was a way like to I mean like cuz there are things like I'm starting to tool around with like ideas for like, you know, other things for the channel in a way, but I'd have to like I'm tinkering with it. It's like a slow it's like you know, but if there was a way to for like a format for us to just have like just a nice little chat, you know, it doesn't even have to be an hour, maybe 30, you know, like I don't even know. Like but it's like what am I doing? Am I playing a game at the same time? I don't know. But um because there's always like Discord that's like really like when I was interviewing or like when I was doing the thing with my friend Robert for like the Kingdom Come Deliverance or Ralph, I just had Discord running as I'm playing, you know, like so like if you were on Discord, like you know that'd be a way to do it. But but you know, it's only if you were comfortable and obviously, but it's like I'm just thinking out loud at the same time. Like I don't know what my plans are, but I think it would be good. But beyond that, what was I gonna say? I guess I want to play as Tommy because I want to try to get Joel by the end of this. Yeah, just something to think about. Um, yeah, last time I was talking about how I was playing South Park Stick of Truth, and I had three more trophies left to get the platinum because I was doing like it was a third run to get these last three trophies. Unfortunately, I missed one trophy by like the silliest thing. Like I basically like I have on PS4 you have checkpoints, save checkpoints that you can revert to, and like I literally was like I think they can only do like 4 or 5, and then it's like it disappears into the ether. But there was one what's it called? I was like one checkpoint away from being able to revert back to the point where I needed to because I missed. It was something like getting one of the weapons, collecting all the weapons. Um, Use a guide. No, well, see, At this point, it's like so now I'm going into my fourth playthrough. I did get two out of the three trophies I did get, and at this point, I played the game ad nauseum, where it's like I got like on my second playthrough, I got that weapon. On my third playthrough, I missed it. So it's not a matter of this is where I can like make the rules where it's like I've already I've already unlocked that weapon before in a run. So it's not a matter of like spoiling myself on where it is. I know where it is. I just happen to miss it because of I wouldn't say a skill issue, but more of just like I wasn't paying attention in the moment, pretty much. Like I knew what I should have done, and I caught myself, and I was like, oh no, and I lost the progress that I need, or like the checkpoint that I needed to get back to it. I don't think I need to. I think this is a new run. We could just get right into it. But now I'm going through a fourth run slowly but surely, and that one last trophy is what will get me the platinum. But I'm not there yet, so that's unfortunate. Like, oh my god, when I realized this, I like groaned so hard. I was like, no, don't do this to me, no. Alright, we're doing hunted. But you know what? The gameplay loop is a lot of fun. That I don't mind putting on a podcast and just playing it again and thankfully the campaign is short. And now that I know what I'm doing and I'm skipping cutscenes, it goes by rather quick. You said, to be fair, something like that happened to me before.
Won't escape.
There's definitely another person. Are they sneaking up on me? I remember seeing something that Tommy can't dodge. There's 3 people here. Ooh, he's strong. Someone hiding there. I could have sworn there was another guy. Oh, no. It's like I'm being timed, though, so, like, what are they want me to do?
Over here!
Just go for a stroll. Okay, that was almost bad. But yeah, beyond that, what else has happened since in the news? Oh, by the way, there's news that just came out. The founder of Haven Studios, which is doing Fair Games, has just left the studio, which is not a good sign for Fair Games when the founder of the studio just up and leaves. Not that I had any expectations for Fair Games, really. It does sound sort of interesting. It's like you're robbing from the rich in kind of like a online multiplayer type game. But it's just interesting that that's something that just happened. Seems like more of the collateral damage of the whole Jim Ryan live service push, where it's just not working out. Didn't something like that happen with Insomniac? I mean, you know, we've had like creative directors leave before. No, well, no. When that happened with Insomniac, that was like he stepped down officially. He retired. That was what's his name? Who was like the founder and president of is it Ted Price? Am I thinking of the right name? But he was with Insomniac since the Spyro days. Like it wasn't a matter of like someone who just like, you know, Haven is a new studio or like newish studio basically, and for the leader of the multiplayer live service game leaving, that just doesn't bode well because it's like with at least with the when the Insomniac guy left, he has so much under his resume. He accomplished so much. It was like an official retirement for him. He was at the studio for like what I think was like 30 years. I think he was there since like before Spyro when they did is it Disruptor? So yeah, Ted Price. Yeah, he just left like that was just like a that was all above board. There was nothing like no controversy behind that. Um, he was just at the he's been at the company for a while. He was like he was basically like the Jason Rubin and Andy Gavin of Insomniac. Like he was the guy, from the beginning. From what I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, but he was there from the beginning. And Evan Wells left from Naughty Dog, which was an important. He played an important part during the Crash days, like Crash Team Racing and all that. That's all normal. But when you have, I don't know, when you haven't even released the big game of your studio that you founded, that because the studio hasn't really made a name for itself yet. It just doesn't bode well. It just doesn't. I don't know. It makes me a little worried. Should I put the military pistol ammo? Let's get the pipe bomb going. Just a bunch of pipe bombs. I feel like if we're with infected, that's gonna come in handy. Guess I can get a machete. Sure, why not? You know what? We have no dodge. Might as well have something of promise. And then other than that, what else has been going on? Oh, by the way, no one has reported this in our community. Um, like a couple of weeks back, I watched something. I watched what was it? Gamescom, but it was like the Brazil Gamescom. Like it was called like LATAM. I don't know what the acronym is for that, but it was there was an hour and a half segment with um the what's it called, the product manager of Activision Blizzard or Activision. I think his name was Rodrigo Perez or something like that, and he was with Bob Burnquist, who's like a legendary professional skateboarder, and they were promoting the whole hour and a half was them talking about Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3+4, and uh, just talking about stuff about the game, nothing really that we didn't really already know about, but what I really found interesting, and I'm surprised like Canadian Guy A didn't pick up on this, but the three the three um brands that were repeatedly mentioned by this Activision guy, and not just because he was talking in reference or like to like like past games or anything, but it almost like the way he was talking, and it was very the way this guy was talking was very PR like, it's almost like it was all scripted, but like you could tell that he was making sure that the audience was aware of Activision's like focus on Tony Hawk, Spyro, and Crash Bandicoot. Like a deep, heavy focus on all those three games. Um, I feel like if Canadian Guy A ever makes a video about like speculation on what's going on, the relevance of these titles, um, this is like that interview was a moment to point to because it's very interesting already because we know Microsoft owns Activision and they own those properties, Spyro, Crash, and Tony Hawk. But we also know Toys for Bob is working on Spyro. Um, in well, we don't 100% know that they are, but we pretty much do. Like it's unofficial basically. But it's very interesting that this guy just puts if and I was the only one like on the Twitter that made sure to timestamp that interview for people, for Tony Hawk fans, but even for Crash fans or Spyro fans, it was like very like the way this guy was talking. I was very. It seemed very hopeful that Crash Bandicoot and Spyro games are going to be in our future very soon. And I'm surprised no analyst within like the fan communities like were able to pick up on this because it was like very like I was like wow, like this guy is really pushing. It almost felt like he was selling me on Crash and Spyro more than I'm already sold on it, you know? So you said why has no one said anything? What I think it is that plus the interview was in like Portuguese, but there was a translator, and they had subtitles too for people watching along. But there was a translator that was like dubbed to in English, talking over the interview. I think it's because it was just such an obscure event, and it was in an interview that maybe doesn't maybe isn't of interest to Crash fans or Spyro fans because maybe they're not maybe the Venn diagram of fans between Tony Hawk and Crash and Spyro are just not all the same like they are with me. But so I think just people just missed this. But I was just surprised no one like picked up on it.
Careful. Not at you.
What are we doing? We're getting to that safe lock, which we can never get to in time. But this time I have a sniper rifle, so it would be cool. It would be cool if I could just... I have a sniper rifle, but how do I zoom? That's the question. Oh, man.
I don't go that way.
This guy doesn't have a listen mode, really. I guess they're far away. Oh, this guy's right
The hell
here.
they go? Come on. Here, here.
Oh, that's like an old man I just killed. Damn it. I think I was getting a little too cocky with that. Let's try it again with Tommy. He said, now how did I find it? Well, I knew about it because the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3+4 Twitter page advertised it in advance, and I even like commented on it when it was it was like counting down the days to this event, and I commented on it, I was like, is there going to be any fun announcements during this? Because like I didn't understand what it was. Or no, that was the Tony Hawk Pro Skater Fest. But yeah, this other one, it was just something that they advertised on their page as well. And I was like, okay, I'll check it out. And I guess I don't know. Like I thought it was a really cool interview. But from when I saw it, I was like, this is like out of my experience of seeing interviews and how press is done and like how developers like maneuver like the PR of what they're trying to what their messaging is. I was like, wow, like they are very much pro Crash, pro Spyro, pro Tony Hawk right now. Like, so it was cool. Let's do another standard. Do Tommy again because I want to unlock Joel at some point. But yeah, and then they did there was another cool event. Remember last episode I said, "Oh, there's this Tony Hawk Fest," and I don't know what it is really,
Okay.
but I'll check it out. And I did, and oh my God, this Tony Hawk Fest was like hours and hours of like what felt like E3 for me, because it was just nonstop gameplay reveals and interviews with the different skaters, and they brought on the bands that are going to be playing, and they had like a live show, and there was a lot of like there was a lot of like E3 moments where there was like very like spontaneous like live cringy moments that were happening in some of the presentation or some of the interviews. that made me it made me feel nostalgic for an E3 because it was like I love it. I love these live events, um, which was really cool. Um, they revealed that Bam Margera is in the game. They did an interview with Bam Margera himself. He talked about how he overcame his addiction, his drug addiction, and got sober, and and like his sobriety, and he was saying like a lot of cool things. Like there was one thing that like was actually very inspirational in a way. What he said is that he said like his like life coach asked him, if you can keep one thing, if you can, like almost like if you're going on a desert, or like if you can keep one thing about your life, what would it be? And it's all, it's like a nice philosophical question, because it's like, what is the one thing, like not necessarily that you'll lose everything else, but like what is one thing that you want to make sure you keep for the rest of your life? And his answer was skateboarding, like his love for skateboarding, and that's kind of what helped him get back to getting healthy again and happy. And then it made me think about like what would my own answer be for that? Other than the people in your life, obviously, that's a given. Like, the people that you love and your family, your friends. But I don't know. I think it would be with me, like I think it would be like my ability to express and discuss and talk about things and analyze things. I think that's where I feel like there's a sense of like being alive when I there's like I thrive on that. I really like that, that critical mind that I am always just like, I'm always thinking, even if I'm like wrong about what I'm about my thoughts or whatever. But the ability to critically think is probably what I would choose. And you said gaming. And that was one of my things. I was like, would gaming be like, gaming's up there. But I think it's really like the stimulation of the mind is what I want. What's the
situation?
Is for me to find
contact.
stimulation in whatever I'm doing. Whether it's gaming, whether it's, to never lose what, to never be bored. I never want to be bored. That's why I feel like even when things might not be going the way exactly how you want it to in any given moment, you always want to at least try to do things and keep busy, set goals. There's a lot of people who are like they could be very relaxed, where I never want to be where it's like I am all for relaxing, but I want to, I don't know. It's like almost like I want to make it count when I'm relaxing. Like even when I'm playing a video game, I'm like commenting on it or something. Not to say not everyone has to do that, but it's just, I don't know, that's personally what the conclusion I drew, at least. But yeah, we'll leave it. Enough of this philosophical banter. I guess we'll get into our list. I was supposed to headshot kill an enemy. Our list for the top 20. Our top, not 20, I keep saying that. Our top 10 2020 Desert Island games. Of the 2020s, basically. I'll do a recap once I'm done with this encounter. I think I'm supposed to. Let's get a headshot right now. Get that Gambit. Next wave. Whoa. Let me look at what our things were. My number. Where am I? Okay, so my number 10 was Helldivers 2, and my number 9 was Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Your number 10 was Kirby and the Forgotten Land, and number 9 was Psychonauts 2.
Over here!
Oh, I got both of them in one shot! Did you see that? That was amazing! That's what a sniper rifle can do, I guess, right? Holy crap. Look at this kill. That's one shot, blood shared between the both of them. Double kill with one shot of the sniper rifle. And it wasn't like through the head, it was like right through the body too. That's crazy. But yeah, let's get into it. My number 8. You know, we were talking about the live service push of this era, of this generation, you know, that Jim Ryan started. Or not, you know, with Sony, but there's other live service games beyond Sony that are, that made it past the gate of being, you know, it could either be a Concord or it can be incredible. Helldivers 2 is what I already said was, you know, one of those that just, oh, this is S rank. I better get an S rank for one shot kill or double kill with a sniper rifle. But one of the others, and this is the first game that because of how crossplay is a new thing with this generation, I remember like looking at a list of all the crossplay games that are available on PlayStation between PlayStation and PC or Xbox or whatever. And the one that stood out to me the most that I feel like I could play and that my friends would also want to play, and that was Chivalry 2. Which we've played 4 episodes of on this channel. Chivalry 2, there's so much work put into this medieval brawler of a game. There's so many layers to the combat, and there's an emphasis on just fun with this game. It reminds me of like the multiplayer games I loved of old, of like, you know, harkening back to even the PS2 era, playing online, where there's this just kind of like playful energy where it's just like, you know, one thing already is Chivalry 2 has lobbies, which is something that was done away with once we started getting to like the PS3 generation. I think even, I mean, some PS3 games had lobbies, but PS2, like the PS2 online gaming era was like the era for lobbies, and I loved lobbies because you can play any game you want. Everyone was just playing the game just for the sake of playing the game. They weren't in it for loot boxes or you know, little costumes that you can collect or microtransact or DLC or what is it, you know, online events or whatever, or, you know, like new DLC packs or whatever. It wasn't for that. It was just, let's just play the game because the game is a hell of a lot of fun. And that's what Chivalry 2 is. Even though Chivalry 2 was rolling out new maps as they were going, that's all good. And I'm all for, you know, DLC and everything. I think that's great. But this game is just so, the gameplay loop is just so good. It's literally, it's mayhem. The amount of players you have on screen at once, you can literally shoot humans on a catapult. Like, that's how the game has almost like a sense of humor. And I love like the different phases of like you're trying to like press forward with your army and get past the gate and, you know, catapult this wall and then try to torch this area and try to steal gold in this next phase. And I like that sense of like offense defense, pushing and pulling each other back and forth. And then you said You said I've never played it myself, but it looks cool. The battle passes, yeah. Like that's not what I'm in. Like, I've been playing like the new Call of Duty, and I'm just like turned off by how like corporate it is, where it just feels like it feels like they're just like it almost feels predatory. Like I'm sure it just feels like they're like they have like a little piece of cheese on a string that they're just like luring people along. I'm not for that. Like, and the Call of Duty game was fun, but Chivalry 2 to me it's like one of the most like relaxed games or whatever, as it were. And um, guess we got a shotgun, right? It's just such a nice game to relax to and hang out with friends. It's one of the first games that I played that allowed me to play with PC friends, real friends that from going all the way back to my middle school and high school days, like friends that lifelong friends, being able to play with them for once because not being tied down or not being restricted because we play on different platforms. That it's just a dream. But yeah, Chivalry 2. There's no single player, but which usually for me that's just like a big red flag when it comes to games. Obviously, it's online required. It's only a multiplayer game, but I gotta admit, there are games out there that are live service games, and they are awesome. And you just gotta find those type of games that speak to you. And this was a game, by the way. The only fault of this game, or real criticism I have of this game, is the trophies are bugged so badly that I had to grind for hours, hundreds of hours, in order to get the platinum. I'm surprised I even got the platinum. And then Chivalry 2 stands still as like it's definitely like in the top 5 of the rarest platinum trophies I've gotten because any person with a sensible mind is not going to go for this platinum trophy. But thankfully, like you can put on a podcast. It's like like any other cool game. Like you can just put on a podcast and just grind and just have fun with the gameplay. But yeah, that would be. You said for me, Fortnite was the first cross-platform game. Okay. Fortnite again is another game I just never played. I kind of just completely missed the boat with that game. Oh, capture. What is capture? Get 3 kills in rapid succession is one of the gambits. Oh, safe locks.
Careful now.
Safe lock is the capture mode. Okay. I guess I just gotta kill them in 2 minutes, really. But oh god, just a lot of verticality to this map. But yeah, what else can I say about Chivalry 2? It has a good soundtrack. It's serviceable for what type of game that is. But overall, it's a game I really liked. And I still play, and I'll still play. Like, it's good, especially at my age, where I'm in my 30s now. A lot of people move. My good friend Robert, he lives in Virginia. I don't live, like people out of state I can play with. People who I haven't, and it's a good way to keep in touch with people. But, that's just crossplay in general that I owe that to. Oh god. You said Chivalry does look like a game I would play. Dude, it's so much fun. You said the last time I played it was like 5 years ago. A Fortnite, right? Okay, I'm on the clock here. What should I do? Okay, Dean is gonna help me. But that's my number 10. I'll get to your number 9 once I'm done with these people. Oh man, I was hoping to grab that guy. Dina?
Sarah!
Wow. Whew. Okay, but yeah, that's my number 10.
Jesus.
Returning to hideout. Yeah, you can go. I mean, not my number 10. I'm sorry. That's my number 8. You can go into your number 8 whenever you're ready. Purchase 10 times from the trading post in one run. Okay. You said number 8. Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time. Awesome. Awesome pick. Yeah. One of the most, if to me that game is a fever dream. It's like, it's a fever dream in the best way. The difficulty, the way it seemed to capture the spirit of the anecdote of reviewers when they were reviewing Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, that this is the Dark Souls of platformers. Crash 4 feels like they took that anecdote and brought it to life in a way. Because it is definitely the hardest Crash that I've ever played. You said, dude, if you showed this game to a younger me, he would have went crazy. Like, again, it's a fever dream to me now. If you showed that to me as a kid, I think I would, like, I don't know. I don't know if I would, like, I can't tell if that would be good for me or bad for me, because it definitely would consume me. Because when you're a kid, it's like, especially when you're a kid and you don't really understand the ins and outs of video games, you kind of just like believe the world is a living, breathing thing in a way. Because I remember when I played Crash Bandicoot 2 on the Naughty Dog PS1 version, I felt like anything was possible with this game. Like there were secrets around every bend. I didn't understand the concept of how video games are made. It was just something that I was like, I can't believe I'm controlling this thing on screen, and like it's like I can go into little secret areas in the jungle and stuff. Like it felt like I can go anywhere I wanted, really, even though it was a linear game. That's how it captured my imagination. Crash 4 is so much more expansive, in terms of everything, pretty much. There's so much to do. There's so much replayability. I have my gripes about the time trials, but at the same time, I'm kind of there's something to it where it's like I'm kind of glad I can't do it. I'm glad that other people can do it for themselves if they want. Not for me though. He said double barrel, shotgun ammo, trap mine is what we need. Get more trap mines. You said a brand new Crash game in this generation is kind of crazy to me. And like I said, with this interview I saw, it's like I feel like Crash 5 could be maybe towards the end of this generation? Possible? I don't know. But it feels closer than I would have thought. It feels like more realistic to me that a Crash 5 could happen soon. Like, within, 5 years probably. I don't know how long they're taking, but, Double barrel shotgun ammo, trap. Let's get more trap mines. Let's lay down these trap mines as soon as we can, actually. Did I do this? You said this game taught me to never give up. I 106% of this game to the end. I was never going to stop. Congrats. It's strange to me because I look at the rarity of the platinum trophy, and the rarity is not it's still like not as rare as the rarest trophies I have, and yet I still can't get this game. I get this platinum, like, because I'm just never gonna do it. I'm never gonna do the time trials. I'm just like vehemently against the time trials. I don't think they're designed well. I don't like how I have to mash the spin button over and over in order to go faster. I don't like that. It's not fun to me. It's not, the gameplay on its in and of itself is more is the challenge for me, and that's where I want the game. That's where I want the challenge to be. I don't want it to be like if the levels were shorter and I just had my running shoes and it was just me against the level and I can make little adjustments to my run. That's how I would want to do it. But to me, with Crash 4, the time trial is just so many variables to what's going on that it's just exhausting to me. But kudos to anyone like you who has done it and really buckled down and grinded and went through hell. You said I put every single game down just to beat that game. That's determination. That's a lot of focus there. Because 2020, there was a lot of great games out at that time. That was like the most games I think of the PS4 generation that I got in a year. What I got? Recoil. Let's do Recoil, I guess. And you said, and that art style, beautiful. Yeah, it's that Toys for Bob. What they did with like the Spyro Reignited trilogy, they really brought it. They brought that similar art style to Crash 4. Very colorful, luscious, gorgeous. All those adjectives you can add. It's awesome. Got a shotgun here. Stability. Looks like my sniper rifle is not upgradable or anything. I guess it's like more of like a, I don't know. Faster prone movement, grabbed enemy, or hold breath. Hold breath while aiming to hold your breath. L3. Oh, that's interesting. I don't know if I want that though. Faster prone movement. Let's do that. Let's craft this. You said the music is really nice as well. It's interesting. I'm part of this like community that I've been part of since like 2007. It's like a forum. It's a Simpsons forum. It's called No Homers Club, and I've kind of grown out of it a bit, but I'm still there because I know the members, and it's cool to like talk about the Simpsons sometimes. But there's a media discussion where you can talk about anything, and one of the things that they do are like almost pretty much every year is they'll do like a video game music showdown where you have to submit like 3 different video game soundtrack or video game tracks, and then people are gonna vote like what's the best one based on like different brackets and stuff like that after listening. And one of the ones I submitted this time, which I haven't participated in these in like 9 years. So like, but I feel like I played so many games since then that I was like, I'll do it this time. But one of the tracks that I submitted was "Run It By You" in Crash 4's "Run It By You," because I really like that like, that bayou sound, that like the acoustics, there's a lot of like that song. There's so much life to that song that I come to. As much as I dislike the challenge of the level of some like the riverboat part of the level, like, is really frustrating. But the music is such a jam that I use that as one of my submissions. Oh god. Let's put traps down. There's gotta be like stalkers around here. Are they stalking me? And of course, Tawna, Dingodile are playable, as well as like Cortex. Yeah, Uh, mixes up the platforming for sure. Oh, they're invisible, aren't they? I'm like, where are these? I hear them, but I don't see them. Screw it, put this trap down. Wasn't a big fan of the inverted mode, but it's like, whatever. For me, it felt like that was a little bit of padding. Felt very filler-esque to me. But I did like... Ooh, baby. I did enjoy the flashback tapes. Ooh, baby. Next wave, oh my god. For me, Offbeat is a banger. Okay. Yeah, Offbeat was, you know, I love the, you know, the New Orleans-esque Mardi Gras feel that it has, the sound that it has. I don't like Invisible Infected. You said, oh yeah, I love the flashback tapes. To me, the flashback tapes, it brings back what I really like seeing like the mod community do with Crash 2 or Crash 3, with like just the insane platforming. Something I always wanted to see. Oh my god. Holy crap, man. Why do they give us these invisible infected? Like, I feel like it's just like, I don't know. It's a mod I can do without. But yeah, the flashback tapes were good for the challenge, and I liked how they used, like, the legacy soundtrack from, like, the first 3 games. And it was a way to kind of show that this is how Cortex was training his Bandicoot army, you know, like, he was, like, using Crash as his, like, prototype for his army, basically. So that was cool. A lot of cool lore there, you know, and a lot of also a good chance for like Cortex and Engine or Brio to like have a little dialogue banter in the background. You said the Quantum Mask are a nice addition. Yeah, the Quantum Mask was like a nice little like alternate to the elemental masks that we were introduced to in Wrath of Cortex. I like the lore that there's these different masks out there, and they're all powerful, and they grant different abilities, or they grant different, you know, powers and all that. But yeah, that's a good number. Is that number? Yeah, number 8. Anything else you want to add? I guess I'll play as Tommy again because I. So yeah, it's your 8. Okay, excellent. My number. What do I got next? My number 7. It's another game from the same year as your number 8, 2020.
Okay.
And that is Ghost of Tsushima. Game by Sucker Punch. The first Sucker Punch game I ever played. I never played any of the Sly Cooper games before Ghost. I still have not played Infamous either, by the way, any of the Infamous games. But Ghost of Tsushima was my first entry. You know, introduces this very mature exploration of feudal Japan, samurai genre and all that. Yeah, you said Ghost of Tsushima is a banger. Absolutely, you know, and This is another game that kind of harkened back for me the memory of like how PS2 games were, in that it felt like a PS like, and I mean this as a compliment. It felt like a PS2 game to me in the way it allowed freedom and
Right over here!
and how it allowed freedom of for your character to
Okay.
for your character to, you know, like maneuver the map, or, you know, the combat. There was a lot of variety of how you can go about things. You know, you can stealth, you can like have honor and like face them like a man and be like, you know, like kind of like have like a duel, like the proper samurai way. I love the kind of like the balance between, you know, how they introduce him as the ghost. You know, there's this like the honorable samurai, and then there's like the more rogue warrior that you can be, with like weapons that would be taboo in the world of samurai.
Behind the desk!
Damn it. I can't dodge. Okay, I made it. You said I played this in Japanese. Ah, interesting. When I showed it to my friend, he wanted to play it in Japanese, and I watched him play it in Japanese for a bit. And I like how like the game lets you play it in black and white too. It kind of has that Akira Kurosawa mode, which is, you know, famous film director of like the what was it, the Seven Samurai, is the classic film that they're best known for, or that he's best known for as a director. Complete 4 encounters with Tommy, unlocks Joel. Okay, so we got Joel, by the way. Cool. But yeah, like I loved how they allowed you to play with the direction of how you want to play. A game that really surprised me in that, you know, it didn't shy away that this is a samurai game and that you're going to be, you know, there's the sword play is going to be brutal and realistic and messy, but balancing that with honor and a sense of like peace in the world. I like how the wind guides you. Like there's no like mini marker or like any markers, map markers on the map to tell you where to go. You can use like the natural environment of the wind and the flowers and everything to guide you where you should be going. I thought that was a really creative and clever way to immerse the player in the game without kind of like taking you out of it with like, you know, the UI or whatever, or the HUD, the heads up display, you know what I mean, and keeping that to a minimum. And I like the emphasis on kind of just like how peaceful the world is. You can write haikus, you can like follow like foxes to little areas to meditate at or whatever. There was like bamboo that you can practice your swords play with. The worlds were so lush and beautiful. You know, when you're going through those fields of like the grass, like, and the winds blowing over them, like it very much felt like you're in Japan. In, you know, in Tsushima. Not that I've ever been, but it felt like it, and it was awesome. And you said, I like the stance mechanic where you can change your stance depending on the enemy. Yeah, that's true. I remember that. It's almost like I forgot about that because I haven't played the game in a while. But this is another game I platinumed, by the way. Actually, every game I've listed so far I've platinumed. but yeah, it's awesome how they had that variety and you can choose your kind of like how you want to, like your fighting style pretty much. And you said it's a good looking game. Yeah, definitely. Jin was a cool protagonist. When they announced Ghost of Yote, and we're gonna be going like I think, what is it, 200 to 500 years into the future. I think I forget exactly the exact details, but it's basically like Ghost of Yote's. It's almost like the Ghost games are going to be like anthology games, where it's like you're playing as different slices of life in this world, you know, at different time periods. You know, I'm after playing the DLC Iki Island for Ghost of Tsushima, it was a really good way to wrap up, I think, Jin's character. You learn more about, I think, his father. I haven't played in a long time, but that DLC was very substantial. It added a lot more context to Jin's character and where he comes from and what he's about. Guess we'll get more of this. Long gun holster. Yeah, I don't need that. Silencer recipe. I guess we'll get that since we have nothing else. You said I haven't played the DLC. I definitely recommend playing the Iki Island DLC, especially if you're looking for like. And I know we're getting bombarded with so many great games soon, but if you have time to do Iki Island, it's definitely worth it. By the way, Legends mode. Ghost of Tsushima is one of the last games that has like a multiplayer component to it that isn't about any live service anything. It's just like how The Last of Us Part 1 has factions, you have Legends mode, and that is a very addicting multiplayer mode. The online is cool. It's completely free. You know, you're not paying anything extra. It's all a very well thought out. There's co-op, and there's kind of like this kind of like in a survival mode with your friends. But there's also a co-op story little story mode too that you can do. But yeah, Legends was awesome. That I think at the time that's why I don't know. Like for me, that was one of my favorite games of 2020 because it was just like the entire package of the game. You're getting like the single player story was great. Compared to the best single player stories, it wasn't. You know, it didn't impact. Like there's a lot that I forgot about at this point, where it's like, okay, maybe the story didn't impact me as much as I thought it did, but you never know. You know, I played The Last of Us Part 2 again, and I'm like, wow, like I can't believe how much more I appreciate this story. So maybe that's something I could feel if I played Ghost of Tsushima again. But I remember feeling like moments of shock, and there's a lot of twist in that story, where I was like, oh wow, like this game isn't screwing around. Like this is definitely feudal Japan, like a samurai game that we're playing here. We got logging camp or the resort. Let's go to the logging camp, I guess. But yeah, Ghost of Tsushima. I liked playing like the little flute that you get. The flute changed like the time of day or the weather. I think that was interesting. I just like how the character interacts with the environment, and he impacts the environment. He influences the environment based on like what he's doing. That brought kind of a supernaturalness to it, but in a very believable way that I thought was cool. Oh, we got safe locks to do. Let's go up here since we have a sniper rifle. See if that can do anything cool. But yeah, what else can I say? Ghost of Tsushima, I'm looking forward to the sequel. And I think it's a great game. I think it's one of the best like new IP that I've played. Guy's trying to get up. Cool. There's one more person and we can get that lock. I'm guessing they're guarding it like their life depends on it. I get to that lock? Where is that lock?
Jesus.
I still have time. I still have time. Okay, cool. They don't make me have to pick the lock. This is our first time getting to this. This is cool. A lot of good loot. But yeah, great game, and that's my number 7. Is Ghost of Tsushima. And it made me want to play the Sly Cooper games. So now I'm on a Sucker Punch binge, I feel. And maybe someday I'll get to the Insomniac games, because I know there's a collection on PS3, so... But yeah, that's my number 7. And you're free to say your number 7 whenever you're ready. Got the A.
Mm-hmm.
New upgrade branch. Said number 7, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Okay, cool. So we are getting some overlap with our list, which is interesting. Yeah, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. That was my number 9. Yeah, let me know what you think, because I definitely spoke a lot on it, and we definitely did. But you can let me know if there's anything that of your own personal experience from the game that made it special for you. What do I want to do? Pipe bomb recipe, shiv recipe. The overlap begins. Yeah, I mean, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. I have obviously it's a game I want to get back to. I feel like I wish I had. I still have to get back to the original trilogy to try to grind out for more trophies. I'm very close to. I'm 70-something% on Ratchet and Clank full, not full arsenal, up your arsenal, the third game. But I wish I had more of an excuse to go back to Rift Apart. I like the part where Clank says "Holy shit" and they bleeped it out. I kind of forgot about that. That's pretty funny. I totally forgot what the other robot's name was. The one that was the robot for Rivet. But I remember feeling bad for that robot. I feel like that robot, I don't know, there was something about that robot that made me feel like I don't want anything bad to happen to you. Kit. Okay. Guess we'll get stability. I mean, what else can I think about with that game? I liked, what really brought me back to the Spyro 2 and 3 days is how you get to talk to people. When you talk to the kind of the bot that gives you gear and stuff. I felt like I was back to talking to the NPCs in Spyro games. I like how they kind of carried that over still. Really makes you feel like you're in the world and a participant. You said Kit was the reason why Rivet has one arm. See, this is how I haven't played this game in 4 years. That I totally forgot that Rivet doesn't have an arm. It only has one arm. I totally forgot that detail. But I guess she has a prosthetic, right? What else we got? Faster crafting. That could come in handy. Faster health kits would definitely come in handy. And improved health kits. And let's... Okay, we're all set with this. Do you remember how long Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart was, in terms of hours? Was it relatively... maybe a 20-hour game? Or was it longer than that? I don't remember it being that long. Hardware store, so we're going to an assault. With the infected, enemy start, and... Okay. Please don't be invisible. I remember... There's also something about Rift Apart that I remember when I was getting ready to play it before it came out. People were saying that you should play Ratchet and Clank Into the Nexus, which is kind of a little bit of a precursor to what Rift Apart is. And I never played that game. And I still got enjoyment out of Rift Apart, but I wonder how much more enjoyment I would have gotten out of it. Have you played Into the Nexus? I think we might have discussed this in the past. You said it was like 12 hours for me. Oh yeah, it's... I definitely take my time more in games. I should probably be stealthy. Or just nothing. Sorry. Next wave. Let's get this. You said Nexus is a good game. It's a short game, but it's still pretty good. Did you feel any like sense like with the plot in that game that it was relevant to, or like that it would help someone appreciate Rift Apart more if they had played that game first? Or do you remember the game, like, or is it just a fuzzy at this point? Because there's so many Ratchet and Clank games that I've just never played. I've only played the original 3, All for One, and Rift Apart. Alright, there's probably a bunch of stalkers around, which is not good. But I want to get to this chest here. Nope, nope, wrong. That's a bloater. I wish I had like... I wish I had Molotovs, but I don't. Oh, that's not a bloater, that's a Chandler. Next wave, bring it on. You said, I haven't played it Into the Nexus in years, but I don't think you need to play it to understand Rift Apart. No, I definitely understood Rift Apart, but I'm just wondering if I would have appreciated Rift Apart more. You know, it's kind of like Saul, Better Call Saul. You can understand Better Call Saul without having seen Breaking Bad, but you might appreciate it more if you have seen Breaking Bad, or vice versa. I think you'd appreciate just a little... Cool. Kind of complete. Let's get the hell out of here. You said... I think you'd appreciate it a little bit. Okay, so it's not like that necessary, I guess. I still feel like I should play Deadlocked, because I feel like that was like the proper fourth game to, you know... I almost feel like Deadlocked might be like what, you know, Crash Team Racing could be to the Crash Bandicoot games. Like, the fourth entry just being like, you know, not saying it's Crash Team Racing, but I'm just saying like, it felt like it was like still relevant to play compared to like the PS3 Ratchet and Clank games that are, there's so many, you know. But yeah, Rift Apart, I don't know what else I can add to Rift Apart that I've already said. We definitely covered a lot, but is there anything else that you can think of? Like, I'm just trying to think. Deadlocked is a banger. Yes, I would recommend it, but do not play it on the PS3. Why not on the PS3? Because yeah, was there like a remaster on PS3? You said, yeah, I'm done. That's my number 7. Okay. Excellent picks so far. What is this? I guess I'll make this. PS3 is bugged and glitchy. Ah, okay. That's kind of like with like Jak, what is it, Jak X. I made sure not to get the PS2 version because there's a really bad glitch that can corrupt your memory card. So I didn't want to deal with that. That's why I was like, yes, I'll take the bullet and take the limited run edition. And I felt I'm actually glad I made that decision because I think what they did with the PS4 version is actually pretty good, pretty great. This definitely load up on trap mines early. Double barrel shotgun, we got that now. Okay, cool. Purchase 10 items. Challenge is done. And then we'll do this. What do I want to do here? Finish up my recoil. And that's all we got. Alright. We're actually getting pretty far into this. Let's see how we can do. Let's get Jesse at the TV station assault with Infected or Seraphite's capture. Huh. You know what? Nah, let's do Infected. As long as there's... maybe I didn't read it all properly. I just hope there's no invisible enemies. I should have probably done the Seraphites in retrospect, because they always just surprise you with these invisible enemies. Clear each wave. Long shot damage bonus time limit. Okay, so they're not saying... I feel like they would be more upfront with me. I feel like in the past I've been very good to be in this room when they throw these enemies at me.
Look out.
Tommy and Jesse, Jesse and Tommy. Oh, these are infected, so they're not exactly coming right at me. They're just wandering around. So let's try to get to them and maybe draw them. Oh, that sounds like a bloater or shambler or something.
Oh, hell! Here we go!
After this encounter, I definitely should put trap mines down. Come on, Jesse. Alright, we're definitely putting trap mines down. I think we're gonna... Well, let's get as much stuff as we can here. Trap mine down, please. And another one. Jesse, don't step on these. I'm not going using my trap mines. It's not good. Hold on. One more person. They did not step on my trap mines. It's not good. Oh, hey, there's a stalker. You said Oh, you didn't say anything. I could have sworn I saw the thing move. Woo! Please spawn the enemies upstairs so they can use my trap mine.
Okay.
In the meantime, I'll put one here. I only got one shot. Oh, let's get stuff here. Cool. We got this. Okay, they're upstairs. Cool. This is great. Stay up there. I can't exactly lure them because they are... Okay, one's down. Right? Now they're coming. Here they come. Should go on this side.
Get ready!
What? What happened? Oh, time expired. What? Even time is against me? I don't think so. I didn't know we were timed. That was weird. I feel like this game is always surprising me with what I'm gonna fail. How I'm gonna fail, whether it's invisible enemies or... Like, I didn't know the timer was against me. I thought... Like, if anything, the timer should be against the infected to get me, you know? But, whatever. I'll take it. Because... in the very least, we managed to unlock some trading posts in one run, skin, craft 10 times in a run. We got casual for Dina, it looks like. Kill 3 enemies with pipe bombs in one encounter, skin patrol. Next is starving to death. Yeah, right? Like I didn't eat enough, or I don't know, like I didn't sleep the night before. I don't know. Like it's always gonna be, I feel like it's always something. I can never prepare. And keep in mind, I'm not playing this in between episodes. I'm playing this like every time I put an episode out is the next time I played it. So I haven't had any practice or anything, but I feel like I am learning from like some past mistakes in a sense. You say complete all challenge, or so. All right, so we'll go with that. New character unlocked. Joel. This character is now available to play when you start a new run. Traits: custom revolver, sturdier against melee, can't dodge. Was that a thing in the first game where he couldn't dodge? And he has Shiv recipe and Shiv upgrade branch. Joel himself, baby. And this is definitely the older Joel of Last of Us Part 2 version that we're playing as. So this is like giving fans a little, you know, having their cake and eating it too. Giving fans a chance to play as Joel. Forever, you know, going forward. New skin unlocked. Festival press for Jesse. I think that's it. So I guess that's it for this episode. To recap our list, my number 10 is Helldivers 2, number 9 is Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, number 8 Chivalry 2, and number 7 Ghost of Tsushima. Your number 10 is Kirby and the Forgotten Land, number 9 Psychonauts 2, number 8 is... why am I blanking? Oh, number 8 is Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, and your number 7 is Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. Interesting list so far. You know, honestly, like we can, like I would take your list just as much as I, you know, so far. It was hard to rank them, like, because there is a lot of like, you know, things to consider. But great list. I guess going forward, so yeah, so I'm gonna be going on vacation. I'm gonna be on the beach. Just living it up. I'm not going to even see the next episode. This Sunday's episode, I don't know if I'm going to be able to even see it where I'm going. But as soon as I get back, which is on a Saturday, I'll either watch it on Saturday and then maybe I'll do like an earlier episode on Sunday to kind of discuss it, or maybe I'll do it in the same night. I don't know because I'm also off for Memorial Day, so I'll be off on Monday. But I want to get an episode out before the final episode of the season. So then when that episode airs, we'll do an earlier episode in the week so that we can kind of just like, jump right back into the discussion. But other than that, Peppa Pig, it's been a pleasure. Anyone out there who wants to like, comment, or subscribe, it's greatly appreciated. You can subscribe to KevPlays9490 on Twitter. I'm sorry, KevPlays9490 on YouTube, and on Twitter you can follow me on Let's Watch Series. Other than that, stay safe, stay healthy, keep a clear mind or clear head. I'm sorry. Your mind can do whatever it wants, but and then keep on gaming, and I'll catch you all next time. Peace out.